Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spanish 101 at Tusculum University. My name is Matthew Harrison, and I'm very excited to be your instructor for this semester. Um, this course is Beginning Spanish 1, and it is an online course here at Tusculum University, meaning that you will not have to come to a classroom for any reason. Everything will be conducted online via Moodle and also via our online learning platform called Mindtap, which I'll be telling you a little bit more about in just a moment. That being said, I know that in a totally online class, it can be a little scary sometimes, and you maybe don't always get to know your professor as well as you might like to. So I always like to make these little weekly videos just to give you an idea of what to expect in the course and hopefully answer any questions that you might have on the front end. So um, as I said, I'm Matthew Harrison. My contact information is here. I've given you my cell phone number and also my email address. Um, I will say that my email is preferred, and that's usually the easiest way to get in touch with me if you have a question. Um, I would prefer that you use the cell phone only for emergencies. Um, Typically, I respond to emails within 24 to 48 hours or less. To be honest, I live on my email, so you can generally expect a response in less than 24 hours. But occasionally on the weekends and things of that nature, it may slip into that 48-hour range. But generally speaking, I'm very, very responsive on email, and we'll have that there to help you. Um, Spanish 101 is the first in the course sequence here at Tusculum. And this is really designed for students who have never studied a foreign language before, students who have no experience with Spanish at all, and you are totally brand new to the language. Um, if you feel as though you already know quite a bit of Spanish and this maybe isn't the right course for you, we can look at some other options that may be letting you start with Spanish 2 rather than Spanish 1. So if you feel that's your scenario, just feel free to drop me an email or shoot me a note and we can talk about that a little more. Okay. Um, that being said, this is the textbook we're going to be using this semester. You can see a photo of it here. What's different is that this is available as just an ebook. You also can purchase a paper textbook if you would like to, but what I recommend is that you purchase the package deal, which comes with unlimited access to Mindtap for so many semesters. It also allows you to have the ebook there as well, and it's a little cheaper than buying the paper textbook. Regardless, you are responsible for having access to Mindtap, which is where we'll be doing all of our assignments, where we'll be taking our quizzes and our exams, and that kind of thing. So, um, like I said, it's your responsibility to make sure you have that Mindtap access. There's also another package where if you are old school and you like to have a paper book, there's a package where you can get the paper book, the ebook, and the Mindtap access. It is a little bit more expensive. It's also going to give you the option of purchasing for just one semester or purchasing for multiple semesters. Okay, now if you plan to go on and take Spanish 2 or Spanish 3 or any future Spanish courses, you're going to want to buy that multiple semester access, which is usually good for about 16 months, I believe. Or if if this is the only Spanish class you plan on taking, then just go ahead and buy the one semester access. Okay, and you can look through those options that are available and see which one you feel as though is best for you. Okay, now I know that some of you are probably waiting on financial aid, or if you have any kind of financial trouble and you are not able to purchase the book at this time, it's very important that you go ahead and access the free 3-week trial that is available. And if you need help with that, let me know. But we will have assignments due this very first week due to the very fast-paced nature of the course. So you definitely want to go ahead and get Mindtab access. Go ahead and start reading the text, watching the Chapter 1 lecture video that I created, and start getting moving on those week 1 assignments for sure, which I'll tell you more about in just a moment. But all that being said, this is the textbook we'll be using. Please make sure you have it ordered, purchased, and you have access to Mindtap immediately. Okay. Of course, in an online course, it is also important that you have reliable online access. Mostly all of us have the ability to connect to Wi-Fi at some location or another in our daily lives. So please make sure that you have that reliable online access. You also need to have the ability to have both video and audio recording capabilities. Some of our assignments in Mindtap will require you to record your voice where you practice your pronunciation. And of course, at the end of the semester for our oral interview, you'll need that video camera and audio capabilities as well. And you'll hear more about that in just a moment. You also need access to a Skype account. If you've never Skyped before, it is free. You just go to www.skype.com, create your account, and then you'll be able to Skype with me at the end of the semester for that oral interview. Some other things that are recommended, either a paper Spanish-English dictionary, or you can just go online to wordreference.com is a wonderful site. If you need help with verb conjugations or grammar activities, there's also some awesome links for you here. As far as how our course is set up, a large percent of your grade comes from these practice activities that you'll be doing each week in Mindtap. And a big portion of learning a language is making sure that you practice it, that you're not just spending a couple of hours on it, but you're actually practicing with it every day. Okay, so our course is set up so that you can work at your own pace. You do have deadlines each week and things that must be turned in each week, but if you choose to work ahead, you're welcome to do that. All of our assignments are due on Sunday evenings at 11:59 p.m. each week. And that being said, if you want to go ahead and work ahead for the next week, like I said, you can do that. But you definitely don't want to wait until Sunday to try to do all of your assignments at once, okay? Generally speaking, for your average student to read the chapter, watch the lecture video, do all of the activities, practice activities in Mindtap, and then complete your quizzes and exams and stuff like that. I generally recommend around 10 hours a week for your average student to do all of that and be successful. So if you try to wait until Sunday, most students generally just aren't successful. It's better to kind of space out your practice, just do a little bit each day. Okay. So we talked about Mindtap and how those homework assignments will work. You do have a quiz for every chapter. We'll be studying 5 chapters in Spanish 101, and you'll have a quiz for each of those chapters. You have 3 exams, a midterm and a final. And the reason I do that, I don't want to kill you guys with too much assessment, so I do exams for chapters 1, 2, and 3. And you'll obviously study chapter 1, do your weekly activities, and then you have a quiz, and then you have your exam. Same thing, do chapter 2, do your chapter 2 activities, your quiz and exam. Chapter 3 activities, quiz and exam. And then when you get to chapter 4, it gets a little weird. Rather than giving you an exam, I throw a midterm in there, which covers content from chapters 1 through 4. Okay, then after that, after your midterm, you'll go ahead and do chapter 5 and do those activities, those quizzes, all that good stuff. And then rather than having an exam for chapter 5, we just have the final exam at the end of the course, which covers everything you've learned in chapters 1 through 5. Okay, and there's a tentative course calendar at the end of this syllabus that we're going to look at together in just a moment, and you'll see all of these dates with everything outlined for you for the whole semester. You can go ahead and get that on your calendar and have that out of the way, and we'll talk about that in a moment. You also have 2 compositions, which are just short writing assignments. You're going to just be writing a paragraph or 2 where you're answering a certain prompt. And those are available on Moodle. I'll show you that in just a moment. And then, of course, at the end of the semester, you do have a final oral interview. I'll be sending out a Google Doc here in just a few weeks where you'll get to see all of the times that are available and the date of the oral interview. And you can go ahead and select the time that works best for you. That will take place on a Saturday. Okay, so you'll want to plan accordingly for that. Okay. This is the Tusculum University grading scale that we will be using. It is a traditional plus-minus system. I'm sure you're familiar with it in your other courses. If you are hoping to advance on to Spanish 2, then it is important that you have at least a C- in Spanish 101. Okay. We've talked about all these assignments in detail, your Mindtap, your quizzes, your exams, midterm final compositions, and final oral interview. If you'd like to have more information on those, you can read about the detail of those here. So you have that. One thing that I forgot to mention is that online translators are absolutely prohibited. I say that because Google Translate is number one, often wrong, and number two, obviously the reason that you're here in a language course is so that you can receive some assistance with your language and actually focus on learning, right? Um, Something else that I want to share with you, while the Mindtap activities, the quizzes, the chapter exams, and the midterm all take place in Mindtap, your final exam and your compositions are both going to take place in Moodle. Okay, so you'll be doing your final exam in Moodle. You'll be submitting your compositions to me through Moodle each week as well. I said each week. You only have 2 compositions in the course. Um, and I do give you the option as well to receive non-graded feedback on the compositions. I just ask that you send those at least 3 days prior to the due date. So if you write your very short little composition and you feel like, hey, I might have some errors in here. I'd love to have just some feedback on this. You can email it to me. I will take a look at it, give you some non-graded feedback, and email it back to you. And then you could submit it for real feedback whenever it's due. Okay, so you have that available to you. And then, of course, the final oral interview, like I said, will take place via Skype. I'll give you some sample questions beforehand so you'll kind of have an idea of what I'm going to ask. Don't freak out about that. It's just designed to help you practice your speaking skills, and it'll last about 5 minutes. Okay, I typically do not accept late work, especially in a course where you have the ability to work ahead. So if you know that you're having a really busy week in 2 weeks, you can go ahead and just work ahead and knock out your assignments for that week so you don't have to worry about the course that week. Okay, so I typically don't accept late assignments except in very, very unusual and unavoidable circumstances like you have the death of a loved one or something of that nature. And in those situations, you still have a penalty of points that are removed because, like I said, you do have the ability to work ahead. So please keep that in mind. You can take a moment and read through about the Tusculum communication policy, plagiarism and academic dishonesty, so on and so forth. If you need tutoring for our course, you can see how to schedule that here in the tutoring center. Inclement weather doesn't really apply to our course because it's online, of course. As I said, this class is totally online. You have access to both Moodle and the Mindtap site. I do suggest that you log into Moodle pretty regularly to check your assignments. I will be sending out and posting announcements on there for you so that you have those to help you. But and I'll just be reminding you in those announcements kind of what's due for the week. But you should also be checking those just to make sure you're reading those. As I said, you can expect around 10 hours per week, roughly in the time that should be devoted to our course in order to be successful. Something else you need to know, so each week you kind of have a set general pattern. You're going to be logging into Moodle and taking a look at that announcement of what you have to do. You're going to be reading some pages in our textbook, and then you have a YouTube video lecture to watch about the chapter and the grammar concepts covered. That should help you in the learning process and sort of simulate that same environment as if you were in a real in-person classroom. Okay? After you've read the chapter, after you've checked our announcements, read the chapter, watched the YouTube videos, you're going to do those Mindtap activities, and then of course you have those quizzes, exams, and compositions sort of interspersed in there. And at the end of the course, you have the oral interview and the final exam. Okay, so pretty simple there. As far as our tentative course calendar goes, I would recommend going ahead and going through and marking all of these due dates on your calendar. Everything is always due on Sunday evening at 11:59 p.m. So go ahead and go through and just mark. This first week on the 19th, I'm supposed to watch this introductory video that you're seeing right now. I'm supposed to get my Mindtap account created purchase the text, and submit my syllabus acknowledgement in Moodle, which I'll show you how to do in just a moment, and do an introductory discussion via Flipgrid. So I'm supposed to do that this first week. Mark that on the 19th. By next week, I'm supposed to read these things, watch our Chapter 1 lecture video up until the 33-minute and 37-second mark, and I need to do these activities in Mindtap, so on and so forth. And just mark these due dates on your calendar. Everything is always Sunday at 11:59 p.m. I tell you in this calendar when you should begin working on your first composition, when you should submit it for your rough draft for non-graded feedback, when you should turn in the real composition. I tell you when you should start signing up for the oral interviews. I tell you when the oral interview takes place, which you can go ahead and mark your calendar for that. It is May the 2nd, which is a Saturday, okay? And you will have the ability to choose the time that day, but our interviews will take place on that day. So make sure that you have cleared your schedule for that day, okay? So this kind of gives you an overview of our syllabus and our course calendar, okay? As you log into Moodle, this is what you're going to see for Spanish 101. You'll see the announcements that I post here. Your syllabus is available here. That document we just viewed together, you can click on it. It'll take you there. There is a course enrollment agreement that you need to complete here. You have to do this for all of your classes. Even if it says you've already completed it, please make sure that you do that. And you can just click on that and do that here. You do have an introductory discussion to complete via Flipgrid, and I'm just going to copy and paste this into my browser here so you can kind of see what it looks like. When you get to the Flipgrid site, you're going to scroll down. It gives you our topic. It asks you just a few questions to answer, starting with ¿Cómo te llamas? What is your name? You're going to answer and say me llamo in your name. I'm asking you as well, ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? You're going to answer with soy de, I'm from, and tell me where. So soy de Tennessee, soy de Knoxville, so on and so forth. ¿Por qué estás aquí? I want to know, why are you here? ¿Por qué estás aquí? And tell me, I'm here because. Estoy aquí porque, and give me a reason. Lastly, I ask you to tell us something interesting about yourself, some kind of fun fact. And you can do that part in English. And then just kind of reflect on why it might be important to study languages and other cultures. I would like for you, when you're ready to answer those questions, you just click on this little plus sign here, and it will require you to access your webcam and audio. So if you have a smartphone, the easiest thing to do is just download the Flipgrid app here, Flipgrid, just download the Flipgrid app. Type in this code here that you see in the top left-hand corner. It's also here in the URL. Type that in, and you can use your phone to make this Flipgrid video just like you would a Snapchat, if you're familiar with the Snapchat app, okay? And it's going to see your face. It's going to have you introducing yourself, putting a face with a name, answering all of these questions, okay? And once you've done that and you've made your initial post, I'd like for you to reply to at least 2 classmates, just so you can kind of get to know each other, okay? So on the tentative course calendar, when I ask you to introduce yourself via Flipgrid, that's what we're talking about. I also address that syllabus acknowledgement, and of course you're watching the welcome video now, okay? So you can kind of see how those 2 things work that first week. You do need to go ahead and purchase your book and get registered in Mindtap. There are access instructions here. It tells you exactly what to do, step by step, for how to purchase the book and where to go. Our access code, which you will need, is posted on the syllabus right under the book, and it's in red here. This is our course key that will link you specifically to my class so that you'll have our assignments. Okay, so that's there for you. Okay, also here, as you do start studying each of the chapters, you can see my lecture videos are here. Harrison Chapter 1 lecture video. As you click on that, it's going to take you straight to YouTube, where you'll be able to see our video for the week.
Hi, everybody.
And you can watch that and get some help as if you were in a real person classroom. And those, I've spent a lot of time on these guys. They have a lot of in-person sort of practice activities built in, where I ask you to pause your video, work through some problems, and then click play and see the correct answers and kind of compare how you got those answers. Okay, so please take the time to watch those each week. And then if you're struggling with a specific content, like let's say, man, I'm really struggling with adjectives in Spanish, you can click on the additional lecture video here and see that, which should give you a little bit of additional guidance. Okay, those are posted for chapters 1 through 5, and all those are here for you in Moodle. Okay, also here, those compositions that you have due on certain weeks. Again, you can see those composition notes here when you should start working on them, when you should send in your rough draft for feedback, and when the official composition is due. You can see all those on your tentative course calendar. You can see the topics for those compositions are here. Composition 1 topic, composition 2 prompt. I don't know why I called one a topic and one a prompt, sorry. And then you can see the Dropbox where you're going to be turning those in when you're done. I do ask that you submit them as a Microsoft Word document or as a PDF so that I can easily access those and download them and grade them. If you need help with Spanish accents, there's a little cheat for accents here as to what you need to click on your computer to get the accents to work. If you're using a Mac computer, you just hold down the letter. So for example, if you want to do an A with an accent, you just hold down the A. It pops up here with the letter, and you just click the A, even though it should be going the other way. I clicked the wrong one, sorry. The A with the accent. I'm a big Amazon shopper, sorry, that's why the A in Amazon came up. Okay, you also have those oral interview questions you're going to be expected to answer and a grading rubric for the oral interview. And then finally, you have a link to the final exam. The only thing that you cannot complete early is the final exam. You are required to do it during exam week. Okay, everything else you can go ahead and work ahead with. So we've talked about the syllabus. We've talked about Moodle. I next want to talk to you about Mindtap. You're going to get to the Mindtap site by going to www.cengage.com/Mindtap. It'll take you to a site that looks like this. You're, of course, going to be creating an account as a student. Once you have that, you'll log in with your Tusculum email, your Tusculum password. You're going to click Sign In. When you do, it's going to take you to a screen that looks like this. And mine will look slightly different than yours because this is the instructor version and yours will be the student version, but they're very similar. You can see our textbook will show up, and you'll be able to see the courses you're enrolled in. So Spanish 101 for spring 2020. When you click on it, it's going to open up a site that looks like this. You're going to want to click on the calendar view, and you'll be able to see every week of our course sort of outlined here. You can click on those and see what to do. For week 1, you have no activities, just what's listed on that tentative course calendar you have to complete there. For week 2, the 20th through the 26th, you do have some reading to do in Mindtap. You have so many minutes of that chapter 1 lecture video to watch, and then you have these homework assignments due in Mindtap, okay? So to access these pages you're supposed to read here in Mindtap, you can see there is a book. That is your ebook. You just click on it and type in the page number that you need to read, and it will take you there and you can read that page. You already know how to access the lecture video. That again was over here in Moodle under Chapter 1 links, Harrison Chapter 1 lecture video, and you just have to watch up until 33 minutes and 37 seconds. The next week you'll be watching a little more. Okay? As far as accessing these assignments that are due in Mindtap, you can go right here, back in Mindtap, under week 2. The dates will match up. You can see those activities that are due. Now, you can scroll and see them all here. It tells you they unlock on the 13th, and they are due on the 26th at 11:59 p.m. They're all here, and you can scroll through and see them. Guys, this looks like a ton of activities. It looks so stressful, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so bad. You can see most of these will not take long. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 7 minutes, right? These are not activities that will take a long period of time, but you don't want to cram them all in at once, okay? Some the computer will automatically grade and give you feedback on, and others I have to grade and give you feedback myself. As far as my feedback goes, you can always expect to get that within 1 week of the time that you complete the activity. That being said, I grade everything for Chapter 1 usually at the same time and everything for Chapter 2 at the same time. But as far as exams, quizzes, compositions, stuff like that go, you're going to get all of those within 1 week. And I usually email and communicate with you when I'm grading something or when I've recently graded something. I usually send you an email. Hey, this is graded. Take a look at your grade. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. So we've talked about pretty much everything. We've talked about Mindtap. We've talked about Moodle and your syllabus. As I said, if you have any, oops, sorry, wrong screen. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me at the email address that is listed here. And I am very excited that you're going to be learning Spanish this semester. Have a great week, everyone, and talk to you soon.